Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annalisa and this is Homemade Sunshine. So this week I've got some more books to recommend to you guys. So these are all of the books that I read for the months of January and February, and I've got quite a bit. So some of this video will be intercut with earlier portions of January and February where I've been recommending some of the library books that I've read. So I read a total of 6. One I have to tell you about right now because I went back and looked at my old footage and realized I forgot to mention it, which was the book The Home Edit Life, which if you've seen The Home Edit, it's from the Netflix show. I really enjoyed looking at all the pretty pictures and the book, and it was good for a library book, but I would not have wanted to spend my own money on it, which I hate to say because I really love them. I just didn't glean a whole ton from it, but I'm kind of that way with decorating books. You'll see I've read a lot of decorating books this past little bit, but when I say I've read decorating books, I don't always, I'll say if I've read everything in it, but sometimes I just don't read a whole lot of the text. I just look at the pictures because the text can get a little bit redundant, I find, with decorating books at times. Hey y'all, I'm just popping in to recommend another book to you guys before I have to go take it back to the library because I've got to go do that next because it's due tomorrow. Hence, my hair is still wet. I would never normally film with my hair looking like this, but I wanted to recommend it to you guys. So we're just going to keep it moving. This is the book, The Little Bookstore of Big Stone Gap. Very, very good book. I loved it. It's by Wendy Welch, a memoir of friendship, community, and the uncommon pleasure of a good book. Also, if you didn't watch the last video, I cover up part of it with a bookmark because it says the name of my library on the front. So don't want to give away exactly where I live. But this is about a husband and a wife who start, it's about, I don't know, it's a memoir. So not a biography, memoir, but it's about a husband and wife who start a used bookstore in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. All of their trials, tribulations. It's very heartwarming. I teared up a little bit. I laughed out loud. It was very good. It has like the full range of emotions. And it's just a really, oh, I didn't think she was going to show up in the background. Do you want to tell them how you like the book, Miss Kitty? Back to the book. It encapsulates just all of the hardships. So whether you're reading it because you're a book lover, which is another great reason to read it, or you've ever started a small business, I feel like from that aspect, that would be a really interesting thing, you know, just of all trying to build your customer base, trying to figure things out. They're so funny, like talking about how they like got the property and how they did early advertising when they had no money. It's a hoot. It's an absolute hoot. And then like trying to infiltrate a really insular community and getting them to trust them. It was so cute. Loved the story. Very heartwarming. And if your library has it, I highly recommend it. It was very cute, very sweet. And I forget what year it was published. It's like, it's modern. It's a modern book. So like they talk about the introduction of like the Kindle and like the like Nook, like reading things and all of that coming into the copyright is 2012. So a little bit dated at this point, but not horribly. So I thought it was going to be like, honestly, like set a long time ago, but it was great. You also got to see my cat a little bit here. I did not think she was going to join me in here. So we'll get back to the rest of the video. Hey y'all, so I'm going to be sharing some more library books real quick before I take them back that I've read for the month of January and February. Excuse my hair, I just washed it so it is not dry, but we're going to keep pushing on anyways. But I've read a total of 6 books this month. The other 2 you've seen me review already. The middle 2 I forgot, so I'm going to just briefly talk about those right now. The first one was Round Robin by Jennifer Shiverini. It's in the Elm Creek Quilter series. It's book 2. I read the first one, The Quilter's Apprentice, loved it. I loved Round Robin. There are a few touchy subjects if it's something that you're kind of sensitive to right now, because, you know, sometimes we're going through things in our personal life that we really don't want to read about in a book. There's a little bit of infidelity with a character, but nothing explicit. Like, it's not explicit. There's no R rating I need to give to that, but it is mentioned. And then some big time, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some big time medical stuff going on. So maybe if you're going through a struggle with like yourself or a family member with some big time medical like issues happening, like I get it. If your spouse has like cancer or something, you might not want to read a book about a character who's going through cancer, which I use cancer as an example, but you know, it was a major medical event, not necessarily cancer. But those two warnings just in case. But I think it's a really good book talking about a lot of our relationships and like repairing fractured and damaged relationships, like between mother-daughter and like father and daughter, mother and still teenage children. And honestly, I thought it was really just, it was good and it was honest. Even though there were a lot of touchy subjects, I think it handled it in a beautiful honesty and not in a sensationalized manner. And I really liked it. It's a good book series, and I really enjoyed that. And then the other book I read was The Mothers and Daughters of the Bible Speak, which I'll insert a picture here. So I took that picture at Hobby Lobby, but I did not buy the book at Hobby Lobby. I read it from my local library. I thought it was amazing. It's very dense. I would suggest reading like one chapter at a time, but it goes through the different women of the Bible, and she pulls chunks of text directly from the Bible, so that's intermixed with her own writings about the subject. And I think it's a good thing. She likes to point out the things that we aren't reading about, and like reading between the lines of like, you know, we get like stories and verses, but we don't get the whole story. Like, we don't get the whole story of Mary as being like a young mother of a toddler Jesus and all of these different things. And it's really a nice way to, I think, humanize and give a multi-dimensional look at these different women and daughters, and putting into context what they might have been feeling, or, you know, kind of giving them more personified feel, like they were your neighbor or your cousin or your friend, instead of just like this historical figure that you have no like personal connection to. So I thought she did a really great job personifying these people and giving them more of a multi-dimensional character. Like, not character, they're not characters, they're real people, but you know what I mean, like multi-dimensional characteristics, like that they're not just one thing, they're not just, you know, one, I don't know, they're not just one thing, they are a multi-dimensional person like the rest of us are, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I thought that was a very good book. Round Robin was great. And now for the other two books are both Decor books. I don't like to buy Decor books because I'm only going to read them one time. So they're fun to look at and get, but not keep reading. So this is the first one from Country Living, like the magazine, Salvage Style. Let me read the front again. Salvage Style, Decorate with Vintage Finds by Leslie Lindsley, which that's a hard name to say. But it's just super cute. Lots of beautiful photos. I love the text. To me is kind of not the part that I really care about. I usually just look at the pictures and read the captions. That one was very nice. My favorite was a new book though, which was Flea Market Finds. Now this book I really loved. Fresh Ideas for Vintage Finds by Lisa Marie Hart. And they went through people's different individual houses of their different styles and how they incorporate secondhand finds, such as there is a house that is farmhouse, and there is Turkish Delight. So no matter what your style, is that you really like, there's something different that you can find all the time. So both of those books were super great. I don't have a whole lot of reviews for them because they're just pictures. The pictures were great. The ideas were really neat, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. Like I said, I don't like to read them that much. If you see a cattail, that's because there's a cat. Again, she likes to come in for the book reviews. You like books? Yeah, she does. And she also likes wet hair. Yeah, we know. She likes to try to lick the hair gel off of my hair. So, okay, there you go. So, that is my book review. I'm gonna go take these books back to the library, and we'll jump back into the rest of the reviews. But I read 6 total from our library. I've only just started utilizing our library, which is nice. We have a very small little library, but they've got some good stuff, and I've really been loving it for decorating books. So if you have a local library, I suggest utilizing them. Even if you're somebody like me who has like a billion books still at home to read, it's good to be able to find things that are outside of my like normal genres. Like I don't find the secondhand a lot of like crafting books or like home decor styling books, those sort of things. So I really like checking those out from the library and looking at them and then taking them back, because usually those books are pretty expensive also anyways. But back to the books that I read from my own collection these past 2 months, which is all of these books right here for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. 8 books total, 4 of them being guideposts, but 8 books in total. So what, 8 plus 6, so that's 14. And that is a good number of books right there, I feel like, for 2 months. So lots of good books, but we will get started. So first, there's a couple of Christmas in here because I had a few books I did not finish prior to Christmas. I finished them up like around January 1st. And I put these in my book reviews once I finished the book. So since I didn't finish it, it got sent into this grouping. So this was Helen Steiner Rice, Sharing Christmas Every Day, which is so cute. You can see I paid $1.29 for it back in the day. And it's super pretty. She does a special prayer, and then there is a verse and then a section to read. And it's just super cute. I enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of good things to remind yourself during the holiday season. It's a keepsake devotional featuring the inspirational verse of Helen Steiner Rice, which I might be saying Steiner wrong, I hope not. But she's the one who writes all these little poems, and they're so just cute. It's a very pretty thing to have at Christmas time. I feel like this would be such a nice like hostess gift for somebody at Thanksgiving, because then they could read this throughout the Christmas season. I hate kind of getting these books like on Christmas because then you gotta wait till next year, but this was really sweet. Then the other Christmassy book was The Vanderbeeks of 141st Street by Karina Yan Glasser. This was just adorable. I bought this at a thrift store, I think back in the fall, and it is set around Christmas time, a few like days before Christmas, that the Vanderbeek family, which they have 5 kids, find out that they're going to be evicted from their townhome that they live in New York City. And it's the kids trying to devise ways. I think the oldest is in 7th or 6th grade, so they're mostly young children, to get their landlord to allow them to stay. And it's really good. It's a kid's book. It's not a little kid's book. It has some, I don't want to say mature themes, but there are some like really hard things that you find out that happen. You find out that they're like, you find out why their landlord has such a hard time having them there, and related to some of like the traumatic things that have happened to him in his life, and like he's had a very sad life, but as a, you know, it's positive overall. Like the book does not, it's not a sad book. It was very sweet. I really enjoyed it. Apparently they have other books after this in the series, but yeah, but as the book on the back says, but as every well-intentioned plan goes comically awry, what the Vanderbeeks ultimately need is a Christmas miracle. So it's a very sweet book. I think this would be a great kids book at Christmas, but you might want to discuss some of the things in it. But I think it's a good way for kids to learn sometimes, you know, sometimes the grouchy kind of mean old adult that they know, like maybe lives in your neighborhood or something, kind of humanizing them and showing that like there might be a reason why they're such a, you know, curmudgeon. But very cute book. Speaking of older people, we've got Over What Hill, Notes from the Pasture by Effie Leland Wilder. I have read, is this my second or third that I've read of hers? I think I've read 2, and I have a third one to read on my shelf. These are just notes and little snippet stories from her retirement home just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And there'll always be like an overarching story of things that are going on that like are long form stories, and then there's just like short little snippets. This one, it has a lot of really good, like she has a lot of good introspective thoughts as an older adult and like the life that she's led, and you know, coming to terms with like, you know, being in your, you know, sunset years, your later years. And she's just so sweet. I love her funny jokes that she writes in there that she hears from different people. So this book is the second. So there's also intermixed about how she got the first book published, which is also very funny. But I really love it. It's written in this style, which there's also little pictures in it. But it's written in like a journal style. So you'll see like October 31st, and then there'll be some writing, and then it'll go to the next date. And it's super cute. It's only, I think like 200-ish pages. 180, so not a very long read. I'll tell you how long the Vanderbeeks is, because that one, it looks really long. It's almost 300 pages, but the text is quite large. So I would say it looks meatier than it actually is. The text is just really large on the page. And then next are the 4 Blue Hill Library, turn it the wrong way, Blue Hill Library books that I read recently. So I got some Blue Hill Library books to finish my collection out so I could finish the series this Christmas. So that's what I've been trying to do. I think I have 5 left to read. So then I'll be able to start on my next series, which I believe is going to be Mysteries of Martha's Vineyard. I have that whole collection, and I think I thrifted every single one of those. But some of these my husband had to order me on eBay because I did not have them all. So first is Lights, Camera, Action. Loved this. So all of the guidepost books are around 250 pages roughly. And you can see the text. It's not super tiny. It's spaced out pretty well. This is about, there's a fire in an abandoned warehouse that damages the movie theater. And a bunch of really suspicious activity starts happening with the movie theater. So that is the thing that they're trying to solve, is like, who set the fire, what's been going on. And it is just super cute. I love guidepost mysteries. So that one is Lights, Camera, Action. For the Birds was very gripping. Like, this was, does it say on the back? I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, it does say on the back. Okay, so a character goes missing, and how they end up having to like twist and turn to find her is crazy. There's a talking parrot in the story, hence For the Birds. So this was one of the ones like that was really like, some of them are like mild mysteries that like if they didn't get solved it wouldn't be that big of a deal. This was like a big deal, like somebody's missing. So this could have been, you know, much more dangerous. We've got Sidetracked Suspicions. They are having an auction to benefit the Railroad Museum that is, I think it's opening in their town. I believe it was a grand opening, but I can't remember. But to benefit it irregardless, there is a wealthy patron donates an item that is then stolen. So that is the big mystery here. It was also very good from start to finish. These books are always like, they're fast reads because you just want to finish them so bad and know what the answer is. So, and then this one is Mum's the Word. This is about an alleged cursed Egyptian pot that is unearthed from Aunt Edie's attic, and bad things start happening with it on display, and oh, is it the curse? Which I mean, these are Christian books, so it does not play into witchcraft or curses or anything like that. It's them constantly trying to disprove it. So if you're like, oh, I'm not into like curses and occulty type stuff, trust me, they don't like play into that as a overall theme of the book. They're not like, oh yeah, that's what's happened here. So they paint it as like, that's crazy, and you know, there has to be an explanation for all of these things happening. So next book, this is the last book that I have that is actually not a recommendation. I didn't really care for it. So this is the book, which it has, I think, it's a national bestseller. So like, take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I didn't care for it. This is We Must Be Brave by Frances Leardette. I might be saying that wrong. This is in 1940 in England, and it's a little girl is discovered that's been evacuated from an area that was bombed out, and she is unaccompanied, and she ends up living with a woman and her husband who cannot have children, and it's just like their story throughout it. And I'm gonna be very honest, the main character, the woman that takes the child in, she has a very hard upbringing, and that's a good portion of the book, and that's not the part I don't care about, like, that I'm like annoyed about, but it's like later when her and the child are separated again, because I'll just spoil that for you guys. They end up being separated. I think, yeah, it says on here on the back, but with the end of the fighting comes the realization that Pamela was never theirs to keep, so spoiler alert, the little girl leaves. She's so whiny throughout the rest of it, and she basically lets the entire experience ruin her life instead of like realizing that, like, you know, it's better to have loved and to have lost than to never have loved at all. And I got really annoyed with it. Sometimes the characters were hard to keep track of with all of the different names. So yeah, it just got really, really whiny and kind of annoying towards the end, and I was just like, I don't know, it did not go into the details about it that I thought it was going to. I felt like it focused on other aspects of the plot that I just didn't really care about, versus it says like A Woman, a War, the child who changed everything. I thought it was going to be like an uplifting tale of like this child that they saved and how like they're able to like come together through their grief. No, that was not it. So yeah, it was very bizarre, and I just did not care for it. And I've read a lot of World War II era books, and I have a lot more that I actually like, but I don't like anything where it's just like too morose and things never get better in the end. Oh, sorry. Things never get better by the end. I thought it was just kind of whiny, and she becomes just a huge whiner character. I would have been more interested in like things from the little girl's perspective, honestly, because I think her life was more interesting than the main protagonist. So I wouldn't read it again. I just thought it was kind of weird. There are some really disturbing subject matters. One thing that almost made me stop the book, and I'm honestly like, why did I just stop there? An attempted assault on a child. I'll let you put together the pieces as to what I mean by that. Luckily it didn't happen, which is why I kept reading, but I don't like any books that have anything with crimes against children. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. And this book's long. This book was 450 pages. It's divided up into all these different sections. It was just really not enjoyable. It was not. I like to feel better after I read a book, and like it's happy and uplifting and like overcoming problems and overcoming challenges, and I just felt like she was just like letting the sadness bury her over and over again. And also this is just another gripe, that, you know, her husband and her are never able to have children, but like they never talk about adopting again. And I kind of thought to myself, like, why don't they just like pursue private adoption? Like that was going on plenty in England in the 1950s and 1960s with mother and baby homes. Like there would have been plenty. They were more well off post-war. Like they could have done that. She could have adopted, really. She was making plenty of money that they could have adopted another child. So all of the whining, I understand. I can understand the sadness, but like also it was like she had a foster child. Like this was not her. They had no legal right to her in the end. So yeah, I'll get off my soapbox. I just didn't really care for it. I do not like a whiny, woe is me protagonist in any book, in any time. I've read other books where I've seen that, and it just always, I'm like, I kind of want to be like, pull it together, sister. Like, you can do this. Like, let's try to find another solution. So those are all of the books that I've read. So in review, Over What Hill, Notes from the Pasture. This was a great book. Highly recommend it. The Vanderbeeks of 141st Street. Cute little Christmas time read. And it's nice because like the siblings are working together. There's still sibling conflicts and things that arise, but I like a lot of the siblings working together for a common goal. Helen Steiner Rice, Sharing Christmas Every Day. This is just a cute little gift. All of my wonderful Secrets of Blue Hill Library books are amazing. And then We Must Be Brave, which I didn't really care for. And then of course all of the other ones that I read earlier this month, which you will see intermixed with this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you enjoy bookish content, I post whatever I've been reading every couple of months, sometimes every month if I've read a lot, but usually every 2 months is what works for me best right now. So leave me a comment down below. What are you reading right now, and what is your favorite genre of the moment? I'm really enjoying my decorating books, honestly. Like, I've been enjoying reading through those, and I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, which you'll see coming up in my March favorites. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.